Well, you work a 5-day work week. Why shouldn't Congress? That's what some Democrats are saying. Republicans are balking. They say the party that's taking power is taking liberties with the facts and trying to make Republicans look bad or even worse, lazy. Are they? Let's ask New York Democratic Congressman Anthony Weiner and Republican Congressman Jack Kingston. So, Congressman Kingston, you first. Why don't you like this idea?
Well, first of all, I don't know any member of Congress who's working less than 60 hours a week already. It's a 5 or 6 day a week job. The question is, do you want Washington to have more influence on congressmen? Do you want us to spend more time inside the Beltway where we're talking to bureaucrats in the Department of Education rather than teachers in the classroom who actually know what's going on with the education bill? Or
Congressman Weiner, what do you think of that?
Well, the problem is the American people want us to solve some of the nation's problems. You know, Truman referred to the do-nothing Congress. The do-nothing Congress actually meant more than we did this year. And even the time that we were here, we didn't use it very well. 97 times we named post offices. If we were here using our time efficiently to solve the problems of the country, maybe this would be less of an issue. Most Americans work pretty hard. Members of Congress work hard too. We just need to be here solving America's problems. And I think that that's something the American people said on Election Day a couple of weeks ago.
So, Congressman Kingston, if the issue is working 5 rather than 4 days, sometimes 3 days, and this past Congress is going to be one of the least attended to work Congresses in American history, what's wrong with that?
Well, no, I agree with Anthony. When we were here, we were naming post offices and bridges and so forth. We did not make the time count, but the traditional split between working in Washington and working back home, that schedule has always served Congress well. We have gotten a lot done, but this year we were not productive, we were not focused, we did not get anything done, and we as Republicans were fired for that reason, but it was a reflection on the time that we were in Washington not working versus the amount of time we were here. It's kind of a quality versus quantity.
What do you think
statement.
of that, Congressman Weiner, that this is really just a PR game on the part of Democrats?
Well, Jack's right. We need to strike a balance, but this year we were in session 102 days. To give you some sense of context, in the 70s, in the early 80s, we were in session an average of 300 days during the year. We have to get down to business, and I think Jack and I both agree on one thing. There are a lot of things that if we work together, we can get things done. It's hard to do it when he's in Georgia and I'm in New York. The American people are going to see the Pelosi Congress is going to do one thing. We're going to roll up our sleeves and work in a bipartisan way and put in a lot of hours because there are a lot of challenges.
All right, well, Congressman Weiner, then what does that mean? Typically, you guys also take very long breaks, whether it's at the holidays or in the summer or whatever. Are those going to go by the wayside as well?
Well, one of the breaks we usually take is we're usually sworn in January and then disappear for the month of January. This year, we're going to come right back in after swearing in. Nancy Pelosi has announced not only a 100-day strategy, but a 100-hour strategy to do things like increase the minimum wage, start to have competition for prescription drugs and things like that.
Congressman
We're going to go right hard to
all
work.
right.
There are going to be fewer breaks.
All right. So, Congressman Kingston, what do you think of that? Not only are you going to work a longer week, now you're going to get fewer breaks.
You know, what I think is the more time you spend in Washington, the more you get away from the American people. You're going to have more legislation that's born in the Beltway, bred in the Beltway, and it serves the Beltway. I just think it's so much better off when you have a product in this age of decentralized information, BlackBerry, cell phones, internet. Members of Congress can stay in touch, but when they go back home, they're talking to real people who don't have business cards, who don't have lobbyists, who can't afford to come to Washington. And I think that's an important part of the process.
Guys, I want to thank you both. You both seem to handle this civilly. Maybe your counterparts will as well. Thank you both. Meanwhile, Space Shuttle Discovery readies for a glorious lift.